And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Shout out to Steadfast, by the way. Trooper just chowing down that spicy hot chicken, which clearly was quite a bit. So again, shout out to Steadfast for enduring all of that for us. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I would have a hard time with that as well, but it did make me hungry. I'm still celoso, papi, still celoso. But we are diving into our own series, we're diving into our next matchup, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our teal Protoss player, the Canadian Protoss, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the American Terran player, the blue Terran, representing Platinum Esports. He is here for the money, Vindicta. And as we settle into this, a big shout out to Cyan in the chat. Oh my god, gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session, I'm assuming. Hold on. / shout out at Cyan. Gracias, papi, gracias. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great time. And welcome to the SC2's safe house. We were just, having a glimpse of the mainstream as we had a bit of downtime. They were having a spicy chicken challenge. Of course, the mainstream featuring Zombie Grub alongside Steadfast, Chicken Man, Nathanius, Fear Dragon, and Zergirl. But we're settling in, and we have a double racks opener. Let's go. Proxy 2 racks here out of Vindicta. Trigger, for the time being, is scouting, does confirm that the racks is missing. But where exactly is that Rax? Where is the Rax is the big question here. Oh, my apologies. There we go. Where exactly is that Rax? As for now, we are committing to Proxy Marauder. Okay. Oh my god. We're going to be doubling down into Proxy Marauder. We do see Trigger still trying to get a read on things. The problem here is that, again, it is not uncommon to go for a fake Proxy Rack, so Trigger still has yet to confirm, but he sends out a second probe. And no, he barely does not scout. He's checking. He does double back. He will check the left-hand side. It looks like he will come across the proxy. He does confirm not just the Raxes, but also the Tech Labs. So double proxy Marauder here out of Vindicta. Meanwhile, Trigger setting up behind this did go for a 2-gate response. Thankfully, has 2 gateways, has plenty of production to work with. We have our shield battery on the way for the overcharge, and we are preparing for the assault for the Marauders. Here we go. We are preparing. As we do see our Marauders working their way up the ramp, going for the pylon. There is a secondary pylon, thankfully, behind this, so we do see Binhead. Trigger has plenty to defend, plenty to keep everything up and running. Stalkers have right, we zone away the army. Oh, SV a little bit too soon. SV gets shut down. Okay, we shut down the first worker. Marauders still building up. Boys are being pulled. It's all or nothing here for Miguelito. We're doubling down. We're going for the all-in. The boys have arrived. Now, our goal here is to focus down these Stalkers, hopefully catch them out of range of the shield battery. If not, we need to focus down the shield battery and deny the overcharge as quickly as possible. Boys are also being pulled. The worker-on-worker violence. Boys on both sides. Marauders, they focus on as many probes as they can. Probes are going down. Likewise, so are SCVs. The target firing. We catch one. We catch one Stalker. There's 2 left. 2 Stalkers remaining versus the 5 Marauders. Overcharge is popped. We keep the Stalkers alive. And we are forcing this army back. Ooh. But again, we still have only 2 Stalkers. No backup Stalker on the way. Warp Gate is about to finish. Warp Gate is almost done. And the overcharge is about to run out. Vindicta, can he break through? It's close. He can. He gets 1 more Stalker. There's 1 left. 1 Stalker left. It looks like we will focus it down. 1 more volley is enough. No Stalkers remaining, but we got to surround the boys. The probes themselves are doing so much in the back line. Warp Gate is done. We can warp in 2 Stalkers at a time. And the Immortal's on the way. The Immortal is on the way. We barely get another Marauder. 2 Marauders left. We need a little bit of time. We need that Marauder. Sorry, we need that Immortal. The Immortal can hold the line. We're down to 12 workers at the same time. Migs, he's on 4 SCVs. And the Marauder pops, sorry, the Immortal pops out, shuts down the Marauders. Shuts down 2 of them. We do have to be careful not to overextend. We have to calm down a little bit here. As the Immortal does push out. Marauders pulling back. We're trying to build up towards a 3rd Marauder and a Marine. Trying to get us around on this 1 Immortal. Can we pull this off? The Immortal's on the chase. We have the Marine. We have the Marauder coming up from behind. We have the setup for the surround. Is it going to be enough? Oh no! 1 of the Marauders gets focused. Yeah, just barely Not quite in the tall grass. We focus on the second Marauder, and oh god, we barely will get the final couple of units here. The Immortal holds its ground. Would you hold on? Behind this, we're getting resaturated. We have a Sentry on the high ground for the force field. We have another Immortal on the way. And it feels like Trigger has held. Trigger has held the bin head. He's throwing the money in the bin. Miguelito, he's just running out of steam. We have a handful of units remaining. Show us the force field. Ooh, we do miss it. Force field a little bit too late. But GG gets called. We just don't have enough regardless. We have 2 shield items behind this, and Binhead Trigger will take game number 1. GG. Trigger will take a lead in this series. A very fast game 1 there, but I want to believe that we can bounce back. It was a cheeky build going for the Proxy 2x Marauder, but remember, Trigger did scout ahead of time. Cool, calm, and collected reaction, throwing down the Robo, throwing down the shield batteries, getting ready on top of the high ground, pulling the boys more importantly, and we barely did hold. And with that, Trigger takes a lead, but now we're getting into game numero 2. Game number 2, going to be loading into Ocean. I forgot the predictions! No! I apologize. I know. I forgot about the predictions in the chat. I was so enthralled in the spicy chicken challenge. It caught me off guard, Papi. It caught me off guard. I do apologize. So we'll set up predictions for the next series, for the next one. So diving into game number 2. Diving into that second game. But if you want to get your Gamba going, I will make sure we get it ready for Cham versus Dolan. Again, Cham versus Dolan will be taking place after this series. And I'm hoping that this isn't too quick. I mean, game 1 is already done, and now we're getting into game number 2. And I'm hoping we can get an ace match, but here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our Canadian Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the American Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Platinum Esports. Down in the series, looking to bounce back and force that ace match. It is Here for the Money. Vindicta. Bin who? Binhead. Trigger. If you're maybe just tuning in and maybe you're a little bit confused as to the names of our players, welcome to the SC2's Safe House. This is kind of like the Home Story Cup of the American region. It is being hosted by a bunch of the American casters, or the North American casters, like Zombie Grub and Ravi or Fear Dragon, Nathanius, Chicken Man, Steadfast. They're all together in Vegas at the moment, hosting the event. And players were incentivized to name change. They were like, yo, let's have some fun. Let's name change it up. So Binhead is Trigger. Pinhead is Estrella. Here for the Money is Vindicta. Normal Man is Epic. Bacon and is Eggs. So a bunch of players have shifted up their names. Dirty Dan is Dolan. Dirty Dan himself. Triple D. So a bunch of players have name changed here for the tournament. The only players that didn't name change because they didn't know ahead of time or they were unaware is Cham and Disc. Cham and Disc have retained their regular IDs, but everyone else has name changed. Whew. Here we go. We are going to settle on down. For now, we do have a Rack Expand economic opener, this time out of Vindicta. Is going to be an economic opener. Meanwhile, across the map, Trigger is going for a Gate Cyber Expand. Standard opener so far. Economic opener out of our Terran player. This time not being too aggressive. We're calming things down. We're calming things down at least a little bit here. As again, we're nearing the end of the round robin stage. It's been a great event so far. It's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of shenanigans being held. I appreciate it. But yeah, only one more series after this. I was ready for a longer one. I'm not gonna lie. How long has it been? Oh, it's already been three and a half hours. I was expecting like maybe 4 to 5 hours. We're getting there. We're getting there. I can see the sun is risen. I was casting when the sun went down, and I'm casting when the sun is going up. It is almost 7 a.m. in the morning here in Australia. Almost 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Papi. We're getting there. As we do have our blue Terran player Vindicta getting into his 1-1-1, working towards his Widow Mines. So a bit of a mind drop opener here. A little bit more old school. Yeah, second Widow Mines on the way. So very old school. For those that are curious, this opener that Vindicta is going for did get phased out. We very rarely see it nowadays. The reasoning for this is the nerf to the Widow Mines. Because, like, due to the nerf of the Widow Mines, this opener has fallen off quite hard. This used to be very commonplace, and nowadays we rarely see it amongst the Korean Terrans, and even amongst the European Terrans as well. Like, we see it like maybe once every couple of weeks, as opposed to seeing it like once a series sort of thing. So yeah, it is a bit of a shame that the build is not as common as it once was, because the Widow Mines are less effective, but Vindicta is going to be falling back on it, and there is still potential for damage here. There is a potential to get damage done. Not just that, but the other benefit of this opener is scouting information. With your Widow Mine drop, you're able to get into both the main and the natural, and ideally scout the tech and figure out how committed our opponent's going to be. Now we can see the Trigger is going for a blink-based opener. It's 2-gate blink into a third. Very economic here by Trigger. And looking at the vision of Vindicta, he does confirm. Does confirm the third base timing. Did confirm the Twilight Council earlier. So he should be aware that it's more economic and less aggressive by Trigger. Mind drop poised to go in. Headed for the main. Do have additional gateways on the way. Drop is coming in and Trigger does respond in time. Does pull away. So far, no damage dealt, but at least we preserve these Widow Mines, and we can always go in while Trigger is distracted. Ideally, we want to use like another drop or another push, and when Trigger least expects it, we can dive in and get some damage done. So again, potential for damage here for Vindicta. Meanwhile, across the map, we're settling into our 3-1-1 setup. 3 Raxes, 1 factory, 1 starport. Stim is on the way. We're just hunkering down here on 2 bases. Because we confirmed the third base, we know we don't really need to set up too heavily in the main. So there's no like second bunker. There's no additional tank production. We don't need additional tanks. If this was 3 or 4 gates, then we would need more tanks at the back line. But because the Stalker count is so low, because there's only 2 gateways, Vindicta can maintain himself. Like, he's okay. We just calm things down, settle into our 2 bases, build up, wait for Stim. Once Stim kicks in, we can expand and take a third. We can break out, we can expand, get our third base up and running, and head into a longer game. Meanwhile, the Widow Mine drop doesn't quite make it in. Vindicta does threaten to dive into the third, but we have Stalkers in position, both in the main and third base. So Migs hasn't dealt damage yet, but he still has those Widow Mines. Nice scan. Nice scan on the Observer. Third base has been thrown down. Looking at the vision of Trigger, he did confirm the third base timing. So nice scout. Trigger is aware that Vindicta is not going for a 2-base all-in. Is aware. Trigger does pull back. I see Asher, bro. Asher, have you slept? What are you doing? Yo, I scolded the Aussies earlier in the chat. Papi, get some sleep. What are you doing? And if you're just now waking up, go back to bed. It's too early to be awake. What are you doing? What are you? But here we go. We have a mine drop towards that natural. Widow Mine's going to be burrowing. The boys are being pulled. And can we fix them down? We can. 2 Widow Mines go down. At the same time, Migs pushing out towards the left-hand side. Could be threatening that 4th base. Ooh, Medevac is going to be caught out, though. Scan reveals the army, which means Migs can slip in from behind. Oh, as the Nexus was mispositioned. Oh, but he's racing back home. Instead of pushing in, we're racing back instead. Okay, a lot of posturing here between both players. Trigger likewise pulling back. Securing his third. Sorry, securing his 4th. Mindrill coming in. Getting a couple of workers. Medevac gets shut down. The 2 probes fall. Nice cleanup here from Trigger. Meanwhile, Migs pulling back, establishing his own third base. And we're settling in towards the mid-game. 3 base versus soon-to-be 4 base. So we're calming things down, building up towards Vikings. Migs was posturing earlier, but didn't really commit, didn't lose too much. Lost Medevacs, or lost his drops, sure, but A handful of Widow Mines. It's okay. How about calming things down from here? 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. sleep, opposite of D-Gen schedule. Mate, that is peak D-Gen. Imagine waking up at 6 a.m. You're an animal. Oh my god. Es de Asher. Ay, ay, ay. Crazy, crazy. Like, I would 100% be on that sleep schedule. I've been on that sleep schedule before. It's good, like, waking up in the morning and being, like, you know, productive. But then I can't cast StarCraft. That's the problem. Yo, I'm casting events at, like, 3 a.m., Bobby. What can I do? It's not my fault I'm a D-Gen. Copium. As I do see it, Migs moving out, trying to catch that Observer. Observer barely gets out of vision. Barely out of range. Again, still no major engagements yet. Do have to respect the high ground. You can see Trigger trying to bait the army in. Oh. You can see Trigger, he's ready with those force fields, ready to just slice up the army at that ramp. Migs doesn't take it, he rotates around, shuts down the rooks. Rotating over towards the left-hand side. It does. Shaking my head. Oh my god, we pull the boys! The boys at the natural, the boys at the third base. This I was not expecting, but one way or another, the game is about to end. Trigger just commits. We're sending it. Sorry, Migs just commits. We're sending it, Papi. Here we go. The boys have arrived. We collapse here on the army. Nice EMP. EMP's on the Stalkers. Vikings going hand it over. Will not connect. Chargers are getting annihilated here. Another Nova going up, but once again, it will be targeted down. Nice peek off there from Migs. The Concave is sold. We collapse on top of the Stalkers. Can we get on top of the Colossus? We can. The overcharge runs out. Colossus are going down. And it looks like, do we have barely enough? It's close. The Colossus does barely fall, but what about the rest of the army? GG gets called. Trigger will hold. Binhead will take the series 2-0 and will take down Vindicta. Whew. GG. I'm a little bit in shock. I was not expecting that many boys to be pulled. But Vindicta, he just doubled down. He had enough, Papi. He had enough. He went for the kill. I mean, there was some good EMPs on those Stalkers, that is true, but the overcharge did maintain the Colossus. The overcharge put in so much work in the backline, keeping those Colossus up and running. The Vikings could not break through those shields, could not shut down this Colossus in time. I did appreciate the snipes on the Disruptors. We did avoid those Purification Overs. I mean, there was that at least, but again, we just weren't able to break through and get on top of those Colossus in time. They did so much, and Trigger did hold. GG, well played. Trigger takes the series 2-0, and Migs will take a loss here. Now, there's still more matches ahead of us. You know, we still have our round robin stage underway, but I actually haven't had a look at the bracket yet. I haven't had a look at the standings. I'm curious. I'm curious as to where everyone is. Let's hop on over. Let's hop on over